Hey everyone, the Trader Investor again today for my third video because I wanted to really go through Wyckoff accumulation. There are some examples that we always need to see, and today I saw some clear indication that we could be in a good Wyckoff accumulation. Well, I call it Wyckoff accumulation. It's just the market trend, right? Market trends in accumulation, trend, distribution, trend, accumulation. And in between, we could have reaccumulation, we could have redistribution. And so in that process and how we look at charts, and Wyckoff really showed us a good example on how we can look at charts, how we can tell when the selling climax ends, price moves down, and then it reaches a climax, and then it goes into an accumulation phase, which is another word for saying consolidation. Once it consolidates, how do we find a good entry, and how do we identify that this accumulation is done, that there's none to be continued? How do we know that this distribution is done? And there's a sign of strength and sign of weakness are areas where the market has gone away from the phases, the accumulation or the distribution, and is starting its trend. So this is my starting point. This is what I wanted to go through today, how to really identify when we're about to finish an accumulation phase. And for that, I will go to IWM. IWM is a good example. On the 1 hour chart, I have marked off a couple of areas. So just zooming out, the market had a down bearish, very strong bearish movement, and then in March, towards the last week of March, it started to have a reversal and have a bullish momentum, but then again it is now having a pullback again. So this pullback, I want to view it as a reaccumulation phase. We've sometimes you don't see a clear indication of an accumulation, but we went from down to up. So right now, for us to continue this bullish momentum, this has to be an accumulation. If it's a distribution, different story. But let's identify why I think this is an accumulation. So price pulled back, had a selling climax, automatic rally, meaning from that climax it has a rally, and then it comes down. Sometimes it comes down below the lows of the selling climax, sometimes not, and then it starts to test some highs. So you see it a couple of times it has tested. There was a time here where it tried, but it could not succeed to test it. And once we are in this band going up and down, there's a time where the market will fake out traders to think that, oh, we're going to go down some more, we better go short. This is where it becomes really dangerous. And here's the low of the that accumulation phase. I'll draw it just from this point. So here's that low, and we broke from that low, and people who thought, oh well, we broke from these lows and we broke from these lows, we better go short, then this is where terminal shakeout could occur. So terminal shakeout meaning price has tested the lower boundaries, but it's closing above that support. So this support is just a fake out area. So it could be some liquidity. You hear me talk about liquidity a lot. There's liquidity. They went after that liquidity and cleared it. In this instance, they might have cleared it twice or once, depending on how this hourly bar moved. It really doesn't matter for this purpose. We're not trying to gain entry here at this liquidity. What I want to do is prepare myself for an entry. So the safest entry is once we have sign of strength and we retest these highs. This is the safest entry. A little bit more aggressive entry would be once we have a pullback again, but not below these lows, not below these lows, then we have another entry possibility here, and we can write it up. Of course, if we close below these lows, if we go below these lows, we can exit and say, okay, this was not terminal shakeout, there is more. But how do you know if this was a terminal shakeout? If price does not go below it, and if price has a small pullback and reverses, and then it breaks this test area, very, very critical that this test area is broken, and then the test area now acts as resistance, or the test area that was resistance now acts as support. It comes to that support and resumes its trend. So this is a very clear indication on how, as you can see from this chart here, accumulation, reaccumulation, distribution, redistribution, we are now in this phase of the trend. We are in the reaccumulation phase. And even if we want to draw, you know, this AR as our buying climax before we went into accumulation, or this area up here, it's how you draw those things is really subjective. But if you really want to think about what is our max high before we have this lows tested and additional testing, but for me to simplify it, I'll treat this as an accumulation from I think it makes it simpler if we look at it this way. I like to simplify, right? That's how I like to simplify. So in this box here, we have a downward movement. We reach the climax, and then now we're doing this. We're doing this, and now that we have reached terminal shakeout, I want to see this happen. So just very easy way to simplify how to look at accumulation distribution. When we're in a distribution, what happens is the reverse. We have a bar that exceeds the highs, but then it closes back at those resistance areas, right? It faked out people thinking, oh, we broke resistance, but no, we didn't break resistance. We closed back below that resistance line, and we reverse this trend, right? We go lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, and we have a confirmed downtrend once we break these lows. So this is really an easy way to identify the accumulation phase. When we are aware of accumulation phase, it makes it easy for us to enter. If we want to enter any long position, we can enter any long position based on what this is doing. The other thing we can do, I'm not advising this at all, but once we are in an accumulation phase, and if we feel strongly about this accumulation phase, we can enter during the terminal shakeout. Right? We can enter somewhere near here, knowing that we're holding for the long hold, right? But that could be a little bit more riskier because this might not be terminal shakeout, right? It might be further down until we have confirmation. This is why I like to wait for confirmation. I will enter this aggressively. I don't mind entering this aggressively here. I don't mind entering this here because on both scenarios, my stops are very tight. I'm not going all the way down. I can make my stops really, really tight because I'm confident that this is accumulation and we are in a sign of strength, and we're going to continue that upward movement. So if I have that confidence, then I can pull the trigger and my stops are tight. So if I'm wrong, then my stops will get me out. If I'm right, then my position will be much, much greater than my stop. So this is how I view accumulation in a very easy way. And I wanted to give you a real example live today. This is live as it's developing. We are not there yet. That's why I have this arrows here, that this is what I'm expecting. How far it comes down, I don't know, but this is what I'm expecting price to do. And based on this is our entry for long position, because we have up here we have an order block. We have a couple of order blocks up here that I haven't drawn on the hourly, because my order blocks are drawn on a daily chart. So on the daily chart, this order block up here is sitting waiting for us to target. So that's our next order block. Everything else, this block here is mitigated, so there's nothing for us here as an order block except for up here on the daily basis. So that's my target. So between order blocks, I can enter some position based on a reaccumulation, right? If you look at it from low to high, reaccumulation, or if you look at it, like I said, in that smaller time frame, you can box it out and just say, you know, I'm only interested in that this period here. This is all I'm interested in. If that's the way I'm looking at it, then it's an accumulation which will reverse and resume. And this market has been making higher lows, significantly equal lows here for liquidity, higher lows, and we're going to resume our long-term bullish momentum, provided SPY broader market does not collapse, right? Because that is in a divergence. This is absolutely in a divergence. So I'm not rushing to get big positions on. I'm just rushing to make some quick short-term positions in and out while the SPY decides if it wants to roll over. It will roll over. I don't know when. So until that happens, we just want to take quick advantage of the opportunities that are presented to us. So I just wanted to do a quick recap on identifying accumulation and where to find potential entries the easy way. And you know, I'm sure you're starting to enjoy these videos that I'm making. So to encourage me and to help me make some more videos, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so that you're informed when I release my next videos. And as you can see, I am releasing quite a bit of videos on a regular basis. I try to do at least 2 a day, one very early and then one towards any time of the day where I see some opportunities to present to you. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification. Take care.